challenge about the leaked document. John Bruton denies involvement. Mr. Bruton asks the government, are they happy with the Sinn Féin endorsed candidate? New moves to improve road safety after a crash claims 4 more lives. And the IRTC says no to Radio Ireland's proposed revised schedule. Good evening and welcome. The Taoiseach tonight challenged the Fine Gael leader to say whether or not he was involved in the leaking of a Department of Foreign Affairs document to a newspaper. In it, Mary McAleese was alleged to have said she was pleased with Sinn Féin's success in the Westminster elections. Mr Ahern said only a few senior officials had possession of the document. In the past half hour, John Bruton denied he had anything to do with the leaking of such a document to last Sunday's Business Post or to any media outlet. And he said he condemned the leaking of confidential briefings on the North, which were made available to ministers.
With 2 weeks to go in the presidential race, the gloves are now off between Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, following the Sinn Féin president's remarks on radio today. Tonight, the Taoiseach, Mr Ahern, rejected John Bruton's suggestion that Mr Adams was endorsing Mary McAleese.
A bit on the radio, he was asked if he was a voter in the south of Ireland, what way would he vote, and he gave his preference. That is not by any means an endorsement. It's obvious John Bruton didn't hear the programme, but or is trying to misguide the electorate. There's obviously an element of panic in the Fine Gael ranks.
And Mr Ahern has countered by calling on John Bruton to say whether or not he was involved in the leaking of the document to a Sunday newspaper, which suggested that Mary McAleese was a Sinn Féin supporter.
Only a very few people received that document. I do as Taoiseach, and the previous Taoiseach also received that document. So perhaps he should explain that. Are you
saying, Mr Ahern, can I be quite clear, are you saying that you believe that it was leaked by John Bruton?
But very few people received the documents, and you know, I think the people, I didn't receive the documents last January. Those senior people who were in office at that stage received the documents.
Could Dick Spring have had a copy of it?
A few people had the documents, but you know, I didn't see any statement from Dick Spring today. John Bruton seems to be making historical statements, and you know, he received the document, and I'm sure he would clarify to the country whether it was him.
The Sinn Féin leader made his comments about how he might vote during an RTE interview today.
If I did have a vote, I would almost certainly vote for Mary McAleese, for Eddie Roach, for Donna or Mary Bonetti in that order, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and I wouldn't be voting at all for Derek Nally.
In his statement, Mr Bruton called on the government parties to distance themselves from Mr Adams' views.
Well, Gerry Adams didn't make this comment in a light way. He was able to actually say who he was going to give his number 1 to, his number 2, his number 3 and his number 4. It was a very calculated move by Sinn Féin to support Mary McAleese. Now, Sinn Féin are an important party in Northern Ireland, but they are part of the conflict there. And I don't think it would be necessarily a good thing that the President of Ireland should be somebody who has been endorsed in this very open way within 2 weeks of the election by one of the parties to the conflict like Sinn Féin.
So what are you saying to Fianna Fáil and the PDs? What are you asking them to do tonight?
I think they should basically say that they don't wish to have the support of Mr Adams in this matter.
John Bruton's statement this afternoon has brought the presidential campaign alive. But the Fianna Fáil candidate Mary McAleese says that Gerry Adams is as entitled as anybody else to have his view on who he'd vote for.
The expression of a view in a democracy by any person is disturbing. I'm shocked.
Derek Nally has accepted the resignation of his publicity director, John Cadden. It's understood there was a disagreement over the newspaper story about Professor McAleese and Sinn Féin.
They look presidential, man.
The news came at lunchtime that Derek Nally's publicity director had resigned. There was a short statement. It said Mr Cadden had been unhappy in recent days with the campaign, particularly in relation to articles in the Sunday Business Post about Mary McAleese.
This campaign had become a single-issue campaign, and there was various discussions and various differences about that. John Cadden couldn't reside with that particular situation and resigned on the basis of it. We have to get along with this campaign on the issues that are important to this campaign and get Derek Nally elected.
John Cadden says he resigned because he doesn't accept Mary McAleese's explanation of the whole affair.
Derek Nally, when confronted with Mary McAleese the other night, in fact demanding a withdrawal from him and insisting that she did not support Sinn Féin, felt obliged as a presidential candidate to accept what she said. However, in the piece I wrote for the Irish Times the other day, I pointed out the inconsistencies in her piece, and I myself find it very difficult to accept what her opinion on this particular issue.
And this was Mary McAleese's reaction to the resignation.
Well, I think I've always taken the view that Derek Nally is a fundamentally decent man, and he closed the issue. He accepted my point of view, and I think it's best left at that. I think that it probably is no harm that he has parted company from a person whose judgment in some senses is suspect.
The Taoiseach and leader of the Progressive